Good evening, everybody. Welcome again on this Tuesday evening. I'm excited to be here. I have my trusted friend here, Kemi, and once again, this is the Taya Onatan show. Thank you so much for joining. We are happy to be here, and we're happy to have you. Today, we're talking on topic. Today is time wasters, and but before we get there, how are you doing, Kemi?
We are doing very well. It's Tuesday again. I must have wasted like an hour just on social media, but yeah, we are. How
Here
are
we are.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. I am actually excited to be here. So yesterday we had elections here in our own capital city, and it was very interesting to see turnout. I voted. I
Who did
performed
you
my
vote
civic.
for? I mean, you can't say that, but what elections were you guys? Well,
I
what were
mean,
you
this was
guys?
the municipal one. This was like the city council and the mayoral
Mm,
one. So
and you guys have a mayor. Do you have a mayor?
we have, of course. What do you mean? Do we
I
have a
don't
mayor?
know.
Some backwater hickey town. We have a mayor. We have a premier. Yes, we have skyscrapers too. We have a mall. Yes, we do. Yes,
How
like.
many malls do you have in Edmonton?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It only matters that we have a mall, and it's a big mall at that. Do we have a mayor? Of course we
I
do. We produce oil for the rest of the world, for crying out loud. Who do you think we are? Such beef.
I have to come and visit Edmonton. I apologize to what do you guys call Edmontarians? Edmontonians and Edmontonians?
I, you know what though? We're just not gonna even let that affect the mood of this show right now. We're just gonna keep it all kosher and calm right now. Like I am personally offended of all the poor Edmontonians out there who have to listen to you mash up their
I
names.
apologize. I knew there was a mayor, obviously, because Edmonton is a big town.
It's not our fault that the entire world wants to cram themselves in that little Toronto, Toronto, Toronto. I don't know if the T is silent or not, but whatever. And tighten all up. Everybody comes west now. West is where the power is. West is where the money is. Mm-hmm.
Are you guys done
Grade A beef right here.
with your fourth lockdown? Is that over now?
Who is counting though? Who's counting? Like, I mean, 1, 2, 5, 10. Who cares? We are safe, fully
After the third
vaccinated.
one, after the
Yeah, but
third one, it's just a shutdown and a open up again.
yeah, like you know what though? Nobody cares. We're alive and well, and that's what matters.
Okay, okay.
You see? So yeah. But anyways, other than the fact that you can't pronounce my precious town's name, city's name, I'm gonna forgive that and move right on. So yes, we had a great week. Interesting turnout yesterday at the polls. I wish more people of color would turn out and vote and participate, because you know that when you do not participate, decisions are made without you, and
Hmm.
decisions will get made without you there. So participate. That's what it is. So anyway, so today we're talking about time wasters, and in an interesting way. And not in the way you think that we're going to talk about it. Of course, we're going to deal with the regular issue of social media and your cell phone, and the fact that you can't leave off the grid and all that stuff. And so that's that too. That's important. But there's also other time wasters that I think also have an equal power to affect your life negatively, and that we want to discuss. And once again, we're not psychologists or psychiatrists on this show. We do not offer medical advice. All we are simply saying is re-engage your mindset. How can you change your mindset to change your life? How can you acquire more knowledge to improve the quality of life that you have right now? Once again, this is the Taya Oletan show on Ladies Corner Canada with my trusted friend here, Kemi, and we're talking about time wasters, time prioritization, procrastination, all those things that keep you busy but do not make you go forward.
Have you ever heard of? things that they call busy work.
Makeup projects.
Makeup projects. And in real life scenario, there's something my friends and I always used to mock what we call busy hands. And I don't know if you've been to like a Nigerian event or like a party, with your aunties that did not show up during prep. They didn't come to help cook jollof rice. They didn't come to help take out the tables. They didn't come to help set up. And then they show up when the party is in full swing, right? All of a sudden, they're remembering that somebody needs rice, somebody needs this. And they're just creating all this nonsense work, rearranging the food that has been prepped. They're the ones that are running around with spoon. All of a sudden, oh, this person needs spoon. Where is the spoon? I personally detest that. And that's why I do not like. I like to go to a party. I'm a planner, right? Not professionally, but like when I'm having something, even with my real life, I like to plan my day. I like to be in control of everything. So you set up nicely. You understand the flow. Okay, when you set your place setting, you have your appetizers all the way to dessert. Everything's great. And everyone who's working with you understands this is where we get drinks, this is where we put cutlery, this is where we did this, this is the flow. And then, those four or five aunties that didn't show up, and they're always aunties. I've never seen an uncle come along and say, oh,
Well, it's not culturally appropriate. Although the men do it too. They do it
you meant to,
outside.
like, no, but
They
when
do
the
it
men
outside
show
with the
up,
car parking, and they
yeah,
suddenly
when
take
the men show
control.
up, they're usually very helpful. Like they see a problem, okay, we need to help with a car situation. I'm going to tell people where to park. Or they're like, oh, the grill is not working the way it should. I'm gonna help grill, and that's great. No, the women.
Only that some of them don't even know how to work a grill, and so they all kind of, So I see this a lot in church. Men just stand around the technical booth, act like as if they know what they're doing on the soundboard, looking all serious. But none of them have no idea about how to work anything on the soundboard. And I find that super amazing. Like,
I
so
I would
why are you standing here?
I would
You
be the
know?
kind of person, like my friends always call me the one that causes disaster. I'll be the one going there asking them questions I know they don't have answer to. Like I'll say,
I,
can I get a C sharp cable? And they're all there chasing themselves. Going, what's a C sharp cable? Because they don't know, because there's none. And I'll just wait there and let them just run around aimlessly, and then go, oh, you're right, there isn't one, because it don't exist.
Yeah, I've never done that, but it irritates me personally when people, because one of the cultural issues that I find, even though right now we are digressing, is that people act like as if they know so that they cover up the ignorance. While in North America, it's perfectly okay to say, I don't know. Can you tell me? And that in itself, the inability to admit that you don't know what you're doing is the number one time waster.
Absolutely, because we talk about like getting back to the point of time wasting. Think about the time it would take you to try to figure out how the dishwasher works when you could say, "Yo, how do I start
Read
this
the
thing?"
manual.
I don't read manuals, but not to say they're not good things. Everyone should read a manual, but and that's the time wasting thing too. You try it out the first time, and then it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, then you're like, okay, now let me try to fix it myself, right?
I like that flyer that says, we came to fix what your husband fixed," or something like that. Because you can actually read the manual. There's nothing wrong about
Yeah.
reading the manual. If you don't know, ask. I find that one of my biggest pet peeves. This happened to me actually. So I'm in a car with some people, and I'm like, "Do you know where we're going?" Like, "Oh yeah, yeah. I've been in this town for like what 10 years. I know everywhere. I used to." And I'm like, okay, so we're going, and I'm looking at the time. Are we gonna make it? Because it looks like, we're not. There's no exit on this. I was like, don't worry, I got this. I got this. I'm like, okay, okay. And then we go again for another 15 minutes, and it's turning frantically, and I'm like, this is like a subdivision. Are we gonna make it? Like, I don't. Like, you look. Oh yeah, don't worry, don't worry. So at some point, I'm thinking, doesn't not know, but and it's told me I know what we're doing, and I feel like, um, I felt it to be rude if I
Correct.
interrupted him and said, "Listen, I don't think you know what you're doing," because I'm trying to be super respectful. And I was running really late, and I was getting very antsy. So I'm like, "Are we almost there?" Yeah, 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 we're almost there. And then of course, I think it must have been like 45 minutes out. And it goes, "You know what? So if I don't know the way, what should I do?" I'm like,
Oh my
"Oh,
goodness.
well, we could have called." You know, like
Exactly.
we could have called, we could have asked, we
Or
could have
Googled
done
it.
any number of things. Then have you drive around and waste my time and thinking maybe you might be a serial killer somewhere trying to take me into. So I don't even know why you want to. But you know what? I find that people have it hard, find it difficult, really difficult to ask for help,
Right.
and that wastes time because the time you're trying to figure it out, you've wasted hours of of your day or months in your life trying to act like as if you know, and you really don't. So it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do the research. It's okay to pick
Mm,
up a book and read. It's okay to Google it.
mm, mm.
I'm very I guess that was a source.
Yeah,
So
I'm so sorry we brought you into that. People wouldn't ask for help.
because I don't understand why people don't do it. Like I don't get that. How difficult is it to know that you have a problem
I
and
mean,
yet and then you go find the solution for it and waste everybody's time or frustrate everybody? Like it's like, oh, I have a friend. Whenever he gets sick, so you give him Tylenol and you give him hot tea and you give him and he goes, no, 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 I don't want any medication. So then you're dying. You are frustrating everybody. We are all sad, but then you won't take the medication. So then it's like, why are you stressing me out? Why are you wasting my time? Take the Tylenol, sleep it off, Terafluid, and sleep. That would be, well, it's
oh, I
like,
like it. Terra fluid and sleep.
that
I
would
like
be
that's we should coin
oxytryndrosin,
that.
whatever it is, just do something. But then you say that act all sick and all, you're like, why are you doing this? It's like that frustrates me greatly. And that
Yeah.
I know that's a personal story of, and you have to like almost force feed them, like, can you please take the medication?
And you know the one that bugs me, and I every time I have a new team, I always sit them down and draw a graph on the wall for them so they understand.
Mm,
But I think we might have spoken about this before. People show up to work when they're sick,
why?
especially flu season. They show up to work sick, and then they infect everybody else. And they're so sick. And I always talk about productivity with my teams, and I draw a graph that, you know, when you're good, you're 100%, you're delivering at 100% capacity. When you're sick, your capacity drops to like 20-30% at best. Now, you come in on Monday sick, you produce 30%. So 7% of your work is there. You come in on Tuesday, you're still sick, you haven't gotten better because you didn't take the time to rest. And now your work has reduced. Wednesday, same thing. I'm like, by the end of the week, that work continues to pile on, right? And then in addition to, you've gotten everybody else around you sick. So now the whole productivity of the entire team has gone down because you decided that you were going to come into the office because you're Superman. Whereas if you took a day off to rest, you go from 30% to 90%. So you're only just taking that. So I do a graph for everyone to kind of show them, because some people just feel like even though they're not, they're like it's just a cold. It's not just a cold.
Not in the era of COVID, no.
Exactly, like it's. I
No.
was even thinking pre-COVID. Like it's not just a cold. It's a lot more, and the fact that it can spread. You've just taken down the entire department because you haven't taken the time you need to sort of get better. And I think that's a
Time,
time waster too, because you've effectively wasted time.
time wasting, guys, we're talking about time wasting tonight. This is the Tile Nathan show coming to you live and direct from Ladies Corner, Canada, with my trusted friend here, Kemi. I got a criticism, not a criticism, a feedback. I speak very fast. I'm going to try and slow it down and enunciate my words slow at this show. So I hope I'm doing great.
If whoever said you were fast, probably thinks that I don't even talk because I get excited
And
and
you speak fast
I
also.
speak very fast.
I think it's a common thing from people who come from where we come from. We typically speak fast. So I think sometimes you have to consciously slow yourself down. And I digress again because my brain and my mouth suddenly won't be able to work in the same space. When I'm speaking slow, I can think slower. So
I know.
it affects brain mouth coordination. So
You apologize in advance to everyone.
yes,
Maybe
for anything
what we
that I
can do
might
with the show is slow it down rather than play it at a speed of one. We can play at a speed of,
point seven five
of two. That
two.
way, we go blah, 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 And then when he plays, it goes bleh,
Good,
bleh,
good. There's
bleh,
also that.
bleh,
There's
bleh.
also that. And then I could also speak slow too, so that I don't alienate some people who don't know how to work their dials. And
This is true. No, I
there's also
get
that.
it. And but the other thing to consider with speaking fast is I think you and I grew up with a speech impediment.
Mm.
So I used to stutter a lot as a kid.
Oh wow.
My mom was always like, "What is going to happen?" And I stuttered a lot. She still talks about it, but I think I found my voice in that I started to say everything out before my stuttering started. And that was I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I never like back then. I don't think they had speech therapists that you could go to and say, help this girl speak better. But I know that after the age of 5, I just started speaking better. But I
Oh wow.
spoke very very fast. I mean, after time I would talk, and my mom would look at my sister and say, "What did she
What did
say?"
she say? I can imagine. I understand that perfectly because my children will speak and like, Mom, did you hear? I'm like, what am I, Superwoman? If you didn't hear it, I didn't hear it. Like I so I can understand that sentiment, like, what do you say? I don't know.
Mm,
So but yeah. So back to time wasters.
yes.
One of the greatest time wasters that of course, once again, I guess we could also discuss this whole idea of social media. Wake up in the morning, grab your phone, and you're looking on Instagram, and you're looking on Facebook, and you're checking the reels, and before you know it's like an hour in, and you're just like, wow, 1 hour on social media, and then your phone, and you're looking at WhatsApp messages, and you're checking upon all the messages coming from all over the world, and it's like 100 messages. Like I remember when we just joined our secondary school chat.
Mm.
I remember those days, and I would wake up because of the time difference. I'd wake up like 300 messages, and I'd be like, "Huh, I have to read all this to catch up on this gist." And initially, I tried. Honestly, I did, and I realized that I wasn't gonna be able to be effective on that day.
Oh my
I
god.
just wasn't, and so that is obvious. And I actually don't want to even belabor that point because I know that we all know when you're spending time on social media for about 4 hours at a go, you're wasting your time. I don't need to. At this point in time, I think everybody knows that social media can be a drag or
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
be a drag. I want to talk about or discuss time wasters that show up as human beings in your life. So time wasting. Um,
Yes, those friendships that should have ended
mhm.
at a low goodbye, and they just drag
Hello.
on and on and on. And sometimes you can tell. Sometimes, because I think that we call something intuition, and that is the gut feel to know that okay, this is not the right path. So you meet some people and you're like, oh my goodness, you're gonna be in my life forever, right? And you meet some people and you're like,
Mm,
yeah, all the best, but then you exchange phone numbers and all of a sudden you're
yeah, I'm gonna have a coffee.
trapped you're trapped
Bubble.
in their time warp, and you're just there and you're stuck. And not to say that they're not great people or they're doing it on purpose, but some people's like some people provide diminishing in returns in your life, and all you're doing is just basically just spiraling out of control with them. I don't know if you've had any friendships like that.
Oh yes. Are you serious? Yes, I've had I've had people in my life that I knew going in. And you know what? I have personal stories, but I've also had stories. Like, you look at everybody who's gotten a divorce
Mm.
will tell you, well, I don't know if everybody, I haven't met every divorced person, but it will tell you I knew from the get-go this guy or this girl was not good for me. Um I should have never gone on that second date. You know, I knew it. They'll tell you. I knew this guy was wrong for me. I knew there were all the signs were there. They'll tell you, but for some reason, um,
They
you
decided to
didn't
go on with
you
it
didn't
and
sustain the courage to cut that. Now you might think this is just a relationship thing, but when you look at the pain and the energy and the stress and the some people may have suffered financial loss. Like I heard stories of people who ran up. Friend of mine was telling me a story of a friend that we went to lesson together. How the guy maxed out 3 credit cards and walked out on her.
I
You
so I,
know, so
it's an interesting point you're bringing up. Sorry
so
to cut you off. Keep going.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. You
I
know,
Yeah, because I always ask the question, when people, when you go and when you look at credit rebuilding, when you look at credit rebuilding companies that help you to kind of start afresh and rebuild your credit because you had a good credit, but now it went bad and you have to rebuild it.
mm,
And I always wondered, like, is it because the mere fact that you're now separated, your dual income just goes away and that's why your credit rating falls? What happens there? And I've never really thought about it as a thing, but I was talking to someone who went through a situation. I had to ask them that, you rebuilt your credit and you raised your credit score, and that's great, happy for you, but what took you down in the first place? And they had come to me and talked to me about the same thing you're discussing. Someone running down, running off. Because if two people have two very different spending habits,
yeah.
there's that. There's the cost of getting a lawyer because lawyers charge by the hour, and of course now you're paying from different sources. There's the cost of if you were living together and you bought a home on the premise that both your income would help you sustain that house, and now one of them is left, leaving you with all of the burden of taking care of the kids, taking care of the home. And of course, with your income and sustaining all of that, it can be difficult, right? So now you're getting into credit card debt, you're doing all those things in that. And because they're not kind enough, or they're not responsible enough in some cases, the other person who's causing all of this mess, they're not responsible enough to understand, or maybe they didn't on purpose to punish you for leaving them, and then
No,
start to rack up all of this crazy debt. But because the two of you are co-joined, all of a sudden their stupidity becomes your problem.
yeah.
And it's crazy because then now there are all these books and all these things that tell you sit down and talk about these things before you get to the next step. And I feel like it's stuff that we should be getting taught in school, really, when they're teaching us about BODMAS and how to calculate the x, the y. We should really be talking about what is good financial picture look like. What is spending? What does it mean to use a credit card? What is an interest rate? What are the key things that affect an interest rate? And I feel like if we start to have those conversations and people are aware, then going into a relationship, you're not asking person what their favorite color is or what their favorite season is. You're asking them, buddy, what is your spending habit? If we're going to cohabitate, and it should be a factor in deciding to marry someone or not, to say, listen, you're great, I love you to death, but with your credit score and your debt, I love you, but your problem should not be my. That is baggage you're bringing into a relationship that affects you as a person, right? And it's not all about prenuptials and love and light and all of that. Because listen, love will not get you a mortgage. Love will not
No,
get you a credit
no,
rating.
no,
I've
no.
never seen anyone who's gone to a bank and say, "My beautiful wife has seen this only home, and we need to have it." And
I
I
know that.
love her so much, and the love we have for each other. We need a mortgage. Can you base it on the love percentage? It's 200%. Okay, we
BMO
digress.
doesn't finance that.
Ah,
BMO doesn't finance such.
no, they don't finance based on love. I'm
Okay, just
sorry.
making sure. Because
I just
BMO is a great bank.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I would love for them to do that. And if like, I'm sure if they could finance things on love or give me a credit card because of all the love I have for the world and for all the things I want to buy, it would be fantastic, don't you think?
I think so. And there'll be world peace.
Oh, exactly. Because
Yes.
all of a sudden we're paying in love.
But before that time comes, we need to address the issue of time wasting. Because for you to get to that point where you're ready to shut up and you were in debt for somebody else's mistakes or foolishness, you knew, some of us knew, some people knew that the decision that we're making um, was wrong from the get go. And so you spend your lifetime, haven't wasted your years. There's restoration. You know what? There are times when things happen and you get a break. People say from the universe, I say from God. But before that time, it's called restoration because you've wasted a good portion of your life, your energy, your time, your brain capacity, your thought process, your passion. You've wasted it trying to fix this. So, yeah, time wasters, financial time wasters. So then, what do you do to friends who come into your life knowing fully well that and you know what? Even that was an extreme case. There are people who just show up in your space and they just want to talk to you and they just want to talk. You have one of those friends that just call you like at 2 p.m. In the afternoon and they just want to talk. And
Yeah.
you're like, are you not
You know,
working?
it bothers me, and I feel my mom always complains about this with me. When I make a phone call, and you probably know this, when I call people up, I first thing I do is discuss business. Hey, what's up? Are you good? Can you talk? I want to talk to you about blah 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 blah. Once I'm done, then I get into pleasantries if we have time. But I find this that I think they call it Yoruba mentality, and many people make jokes about this. You know, when people call you, how are you? Have you eaten? How's mommy? How's daddy? How's like why have you like I usually cut people off now ever since I hit my 30s. I've just my mom just always worries about me, but I tell him like, listen, we don't have time for this. Let's discuss what we came here to discuss, and then if we have time, let's socialize. I don't
Be
like
a good
life is too
meeting
short.
moderator. I would
Well,
like to see you moderate a meeting,
oh my
a
goodness.
cultural meeting.
I
That
don't
one.
so as you know, I am the chairperson of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, the Canadian branch, and when we have our events, we start off on time. If we have 7 people, we have 7 people, and we just go on. Everyone else joins, and we don't do those pleasantries. The last time the first event we had we had the president, we had all the everyone, most of the governing council members on our call, so many dignitaries. We went through the event, we welcomed everybody, we started on time, we finished on time, we took questions, we thanked everyone for coming. And then the next session, I noticed that no one, like none of our people kind of showed up, and subsequent ones. And then a different chapter had their own event, which was, there was also in North America, the US branch. So I joined, and I realized my flaw, which was they first identify everyone, they have the protocols, they thank everyone for coming, they give people their full titles with, MSc, CCB, FFA, GGG. And
ABCD.
those are great things. Not that it's bad, but my mindset doesn't have time for that. Like, and I really love a lot of meetings where we're not, and you're not exercising protocol, because at the end of the day, what does that do? So the person is there, we're all on Zoom, we can see them, we know they're there. If we want to grace their presence, we can have them do a thank you speech or a 2-second conversation. But to identify them, it's a Zoom call, for crying out loud. It's supposed to be like, okay, now we're going to, and I found that, so I don't have time for all those pleasantries. You know yourself, we know you value yourself. We value you. It's not until we tell everybody that we value you that we're putting value on you.
That's a generational difference in your mindset. I understand that sentiment and I get that because there are times when I just want to go in, be done. But then if you're dealing with people who are from a different place and a different generation, they actually enjoy this seats of honor, right? It's
Yeah.
like way back when we were younger, when you went to church and the pastor would call Brigadier General ABC and honor them, and the person say, "Praise the Lord," and then the other person will come out and say, "Oh, I'm Chief Mister 1 2 3," and then he'll say, "Hallelujah," and then we go before the sermon starts, right? This is because he has to honor every person, and then by the time all that honor is done, then he starts to preach. Because if you don't greet them, then you've upset somebody.
But my thing
Now
is, why? Why are you upset? Like, we know
but
everybody knows who you
that's
are.
the way that's the genuine. I can't, I don't even have an explanation. But now I enter a church. If the pastor greets anybody, I'm like, okay, why is it wasting my time? I'm like, dude, like, where is I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's a 45-minute sermon at most. I'll just greet him. But that's me, and I get that. So when I'm in that setting, I kind of, okay, this is that. But I understand your point. I truly do understand what you're saying and how some people can find that a bit rough to deal with.
Yeah, because like and it also cuts across, when you go to a meeting and you invited to a place and it's a 1 hour long meeting and they're doing exaltations and they're thanking you for your time, or you make a comment and you ask for questions, or right now people ask questions. They're saying, oh, I think you spoke very well, thank you for talking to us, you did an excellent job doing A, B, C, and D. And then you're waiting, like, what is the question, what is the, like, I know I did a good job because I prepared, but thank you for acknowledging that. But what, like, if you don't have a comment, like, it's okay not to, like, it's okay to wait until the
Generation,
oldest
what are you?
person.
Y, Z, millennial? Patience, patience, patience.
Oh, I
Really?
don't know. I don't
Oh my
like. I
God.
typically don't entertain meetings that exceed one hour. Mm-mm. After one
Imagine
hour,
if
I'm
two
done.
generations from you, you're speaking to young girls, 20 years later, and they're saying, many meeting past 10 minutes, I'm not doing it. You'll be looking at them like, what is wrong with these children
But
of
why would you?
nowadays?
Why do you need a 3 hour meeting? Like,
Well, I don't
research
know
has
why. I'm just saying that, you know what?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if I were to talk to a group, and I always keep my presentations very short and very interactive. I find
Mhm.
that when you're talking all the time to people, they're not able to follow along. Especially when it's topics that they're not very conversant with.
Oh, usually anything past an hour, your brain is no longer assimilating.
It's
That's
not working.
standard.
It's not
That's
working.
scientific right there.
Yeah,
But you know what? Still, we still sit there and we
we
torture ourselves
listen.
and waste our time and
Yeah. Oh,
laugh at the
especially those
jokes because you're
you catch
thinking
the
in your
jokes
mind.
because you just pull out your phone and just move on with it, and you're like,
You know
okay,
this movie, What Women Think? I think it was Mel Gibson. I don't know if you saw that
yes,
movie. And so Mel Gibson sits in this meeting with all those women, and all of them are smiling at him and looking at him, and all of them are thinking, did I walk the dog? Did I do this? Did I do that? And their minds were totally not there. And he was giving the speech of his life, and he was talking about how to make the brand better. And every single woman around that conference table was thinking about anything else but what he was saying. And you realize that, oh my God, so this is really what happens. And I think they like me because all of them had a smile plastered on their faces.
oh, I
You
like
know,
that's
you
why.
have your
Yeah, I don't like to be on camera because in the old day when you're in meetings, my boss is always like, "Oh, pay attention," and I'm like, "Listen, I am back to back from 8 to 5. There's work that is coming in. You gave me a laptop for a reason so I can multitask." And multitasking is a scam, by the way, because everybody knows it doesn't work.
well
So
about that, Charles. About to get there. Does multitasking really save time,
no, it
or is
doesn't.
that
'Cause
the one of the biggest time management fads that has been sold to us?
it's a
You
time
know,
management fad, and I'm learning now that if you have 10 tasks, don't try to do them all at once. Prioritize. Take the time.
uh,
The 5 minutes you take to say I need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and then start to work your way forward and say, what is most important, what is least important, what can I do, what can I delegate, what can I hold off on, and then
mm-hmm.
you start to work on it. The I think that 5-10 minutes of that legwork, it saves you a lot of time, because think about it. You're on a call with someone, you're having a chat, all of a sudden an email comes and you're trying to read the email. Your brain is not listening to what the person is saying anymore because you're focused on your email. Now there's a question at hand, you have no idea what just happened. Now they've given you an action item, you're ashamed to say, I wasn't listening. And then the email you're reading isn't resonating with you because the sounds from the conversation you were having has now interrupted you, so you haven't progressed in any way.
So it's okay to say hold on or ignore the email or not talk while you're typing an email. I find
Absolutely.
that the older I get, the less I can concentrate on four things at the same time. So if I'm talking to you, if I'm on the phone, I can't do anything else. When I was younger, I felt I could do that, but now the older I get, I realize that my brain can only really, really effectively handle maybe one thing at a time. And I get that my sister says to me, "You can't multitask." I'm like, I know. That is where I'm at now, at this stage in my life right now.
Absolutely. And that's why I love texting. So if you notice, I do a lot more texting than I do talking, because with texting, you can have four conversations because you're controlling when you're looking at everything that's going on.
And you're
You
able
can
to, yeah.
actually, like, I find with texting multiple people, I'm good because I can text A, text B, text C, text D, and then by the time I'm done with D, A has responded. Now I can read that, reply.
Except you're one person who would mistakenly put the wrong response. Have you done that? Where you have four chats going and you're sending somebody's paycheck. salary information to the other person. I'm like, oops, can I delete that quickly because, oops, am I gonna get fired or did I just say that? And you're like, once
Oh,
again, and then you spend the rest of the day thinking, did they see the email? Did they see the text? Did I delete it on time? Delete everyone or delete for myself only? And you're trying to gauge how screwed up you've done that. Because I've done that. Like honestly, I've sent wrong information, wrong documents, because I'm trying to do that thing where you call multitasking, trying to answer everybody. I'm trying to feel all cool and I'm texting. I'm like, I just screwed that one up. So yeah, no, multitasking. If it works for you, go ahead. If it doesn't, slow down. Don't do it.
I've never heard, and I was doing a productivity course, and the one thing they tell you is multitasking is the biggest scam ever. It never saves time. Yes. So, my what I'm working on now is one thing I've done for myself is for all of my social media, I have removed the automatic notification. So for me to actually know that there's a message waiting for me in WhatsApp, I have to literally go into it. If I
Okay, so
get a
you engage
message,
your mind.
yes, because what happens, and I learned that from a webinar that I was on. Because what tends to happen is if you're working and you get a ping, it distracts you, right? Because you're like, "What is that?" You want to check it out. You might say, "I will look at it later," and try to do that, and that works, but not all the time. So now I find that I have to go look
You
for
actually
updates
stop and take the time to look.
to
I hear
look.
you there. Time wasters, guys. We are past our time again, as we always do. But such an interesting conversation we have. Somebody's responding. Hi girls. Hello, Kenan. Thank you for
Hello.
coming, for listening, for watching. I lost my train of thought there. But hi, thank you. How you doing? Yeah. And so we're talking about time wasters, and I guess the big thing is every one of us needs to kind of know what wastes your time. I can't tell you that. Um, you need to figure that out yourself. You need to sit down, take a mental note, take a notebook out, figure out what is wasting your time. Is it a person that keeps calling you on the weirdest time? Somebody calls you while you're sleeping and then they mess up your sleep schedule, and then suddenly you can't be productive the rest of the day because you've spoken at 2 a.m. in the morning and your day is ruined. That happens. Yeah, time
So
waste.
I set my phone. I set my phone up in a way that I can turn off my notifications. I have a sleep time ritual. That messages don't come in. My phone is on silent. However, I also set my phone up so that if someone calls me more than once within a short period of time, then all those messages that are come, they like it rings a second time. Also, I have like my favorites. They all
Mm-hmm.
their messages come up. So family, friends. So if there's an emergency,
You'll be
um,
able to see it.
I will be able to see it. And I also do that. Like if it's an emergency, I typically call people more than once. But some people, like, will call me in the morning and I look at my phone, I see missed calls. I'm like, yeah, no, thank you.
I'm not
But yeah.
picking the sun up before 9 a.m. because
Oh,
if
I
you
don't,
do that,
and that's another
mhm,
hack. I read somewhere because I'm trying to also be more productive that
mhm.
you shouldn't check your email first thing in the morning because it throws you off. I remember there were times when I would wake up and get dressed for the gym, and on the subway, I would open up my emails to say, "Let me get an early start on my day." And that screws me up because someone has sent an email at 2 a.m. about some issue that has nothing to do with me. But all of a sudden it's the top of my mind. So I'm trying to lift weight and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this person's email, how do I want to respond to it? And that just takes up so much brain capacity. Whereas if I wait till 9 o'clock, I can do that.
Wow. Wow, interesting. Once
Mhm.
again, it is 40 minutes on the clock, and
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's our time. Thank you
Yes, it
everybody
is.
for
Thank
um
you.
for coming and tuning in. We really appreciate the support and the effort. So yeah, time wasters. And we'll be back again this time next week. I'm talking about procrastination and more time wasters and how to save time. Just changing your mindset. One issue at a time. We're not psychologists or we're not psychiatrists. We do not offer medical advice, but we want to engage you such that you are able to change your mindsets and get better if you want to. Thank you, everybody, once again. It's my pleasure to be here. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.